Hi everyone. All right, in this video, we're going to be doing solving one-step equations for Algebra 1. Here's some examples. We're going to do the evens. My name is Ryan. Welcome to Math with RG. Thank you so much for watching the channel. Let's dive into it. Okay, so we have x minus 9 equals 4. All right, so basic algebra principles. We ask ourselves two questions. What is happening to the variable? So we'll answer that question, right? It says x minus 9, so there's a minus 9 next to the variable. And then how do I get rid of the minus 9? I must do the opposite. So again, what is happening to the variable? And then you answer that question, right? So there's something being added to it or subtracted to it or multiplied to it or divided by it, divided to it, I mean, or maybe squared or cubed, right? And then you just do the opposite. So the opposite of minus 9 is plus 9. And algebra, we have to balance. So whatever you do to one side of the equal sign, you have to do the other side of the equal sign. So there'll be a plus 9 here. Negative 9 plus 9 is 0, so that cancels out. So we have x equals 13. All right, excellent. Moving on. So now we're going to dive into number 18. Okay, we have 5/9 plus w equals 7/9. Okay, so one more time. We ask ourselves what's happening to the variable, where there's a 5/9 being added to the variable. Now, you want to always look to the left of whatever you're doing, right? So whatever number you're looking at or whatever variable you're looking at. So to the left of the 5/9, there's nothing there, so that means it's positive. So I'm going to do the opposite of that, which would be subtract 5/9. And then just as we said before, we got to do it on both sides. So minus 5/9. And remember, when I say both sides, that literally means the left side of the equal sign and then the right side of the equal sign. Okay, so then 5/9 minus 5/9, that's 0. We have w equals, we have 7/9 minus 5/9. Now when you're subtracting fractions, you must have the same denominator, right? Which means the same bottom number, which thankfully we do. So all we have to do is subtract the top numbers and rewrite the bottom number. So 7 minus 5 is 2. So we have 2/9. And that is our final answer. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you've heard me talk about one of the best ways to study, to take a test, which is say out loud what you're doing at the same moment. So as I'm writing, I will say things out loud. I'm adding this on this side and this on that side and things like that. It helps you build retainment, and it activates your eyes, your ears, your muscle memory in your mouth, right? Your voice, and your muscle memory in your hand. So everything at once will really help you out. All right, here we go. Number 20. All right, we have a over 12 equals 5. A over 12 equals 5. Now, a over 12 is a fraction, but all fractions are division problems. So repeat after me, all fractions are division problems. So it actually says a divided by 12. So again, we do the opposite. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. So times 12 right here, times 12 right here. So we have 12 divided by 12 on the left side. So that cancels out because the 12 is on top if I'm multiplying by 12 for a fraction. And then we have a equals 5 times 12. Well, that is 60. I'll teach you a really quick shortcut. When you're multiplying by 5, you can actually just say, okay, well, what if I did 12 times 10? I just add a 0 to the end, that's 120, and then I cut it in half. So I add a 0 on the end, then cut it in half. 120 divided by 2 is 60. All right, and there we have it. Okay, here we go. 2 more examples. So we have 22. And in number 22, we have 2/5 b equals -4. All right, 2/5 b. So 2/5 b literally means 2/5 times b equals -4. So what is the opposite of multiplication? That is division. So technically, I need to divide by 2/5 on both sides of the equal sign. But here's the deal. If I'm dividing with fractions, I have to do something special. And it's called keep, change, flip, or multiply by the reciprocal. So if you're dividing with a fraction involved, whether it's one fraction or two fractions, you must do this order. Keep, change, flip, or we call it multiply by the reciprocal. So if I'm dividing by 2/5, then I'm actually going to be multiplying by 5/2. So multiplying by 5/2 right here, and multiplying by 5/2 right here. Now these cancel out, 2 divided by 2 and 5 divided by 5, right? Or you could have actually multiplied that and you would have gotten 10 on the top and 10 on the bottom. So 10 divided by 10 is 1. 1 times b is just b. All right, but let's just really quick talk about that keep, change, flip. So this is keep the -4, change the division to multiplication. So that's right here, okay? So it went from division to multiplication, and then flip, right? It used to be 2/5, now it's 5/2. You can also call it multiply by the reciprocal. Reciprocal means you flip the fraction. All right, so here we go. We have b equals -4 times 5/2. We could really call that -4/1 if you want to look at it that way, times 5/2. -4 times 5 is -20. So we have -20 on top. We have 1 times 2, so 2 on the bottom. And then we can simplify. -20 divided by 2 is just -10. Now, one other way to look at this is we could simplify by cross-canceling before we multiply. So we have -4 divided by 2. That's just your -2, and this would have been a 1. And then -2 times 5 would have still been your -10. Okay, so now we've got our word problem. 24. All right, let's read this together. So Max is 4 years younger than his sister, Brenda. Max is 16 years old. Write and solve an equation to find Brenda's age. Okay, so here's how I do word problems. You look for the thing that they're not really telling you about. So when it says Max is 4 years younger than his sister Brenda, and then they say Max is 16 years old, notice how they talk to you about Max twice? They didn't tell you anything about Brenda. So that tells me to make Brenda equal to X. So the thing that they don't tell you about, you label that as X or whatever variable you want. All right, so now let's go back to it. It says Max is 4 years younger than his sister, Brenda. Okay, so we're gonna write Max equals, again, it said 4 years younger than his sister, Brenda. Well, how old is Brenda? Well, Brenda is X years old. So if Max is 4 years younger, then that means Max is X minus 4. All right, now they told you something else about Max. They said that Max is 16 years old. So look, we get to write Max again. Max equals 16. So because we have Max twice, we can just use substitution to create an equation. So since Max is both equal to X minus 4 and 16, we can just write this equation. X minus 4 equals 16. Again, remember Max is equal to both of those things, so that means they're equal to each other. All right, and now we just have the one-step equation again. So we do what's happening to the variable. There's a minus 4 next to it, right? It says X minus 4. So we add, right? We do the opposite on both sides. Cross that out because that's 0. X equals 20. They asked you for Brenda's age. So Brenda is X. So Brenda, right? This is a word problem, so you have to write it out. Brenda is 20 years old. And there is your answer. All right, so does it make sense? Well, if Brenda is 20 and they said Max is 4 years younger, then Max must be 16 because 20 minus 4 is 16. And yes, Max is 16. So it checks out. Thank you all so much for watching this video today. My goal is to provide as much free math as possible here on YouTube. Great job on finishing today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, tell your friends and family. And if you want to dive deeper into chapter test work, you can check out my Skool platform, skool.com. The link will be in the bio below. And if you want more information on one-on-one tutoring, you can check out my website, rgtutors.com. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.